The airplane hummed as it climbed through the clouds, a dull vibration coursing through the floor beneath her sneakers. Emma Hayes sat quietly in seat 12F, pressed against the window, her backpack tucked under her legs. Outside, the sky opened wide, a canvas of soft blue streaked with streaks of white. To most people on this flight from Dallas to Washington, D.C., it was just another routine trip. To Emma, it was something else entirely. Her father was supposed to be waiting for her at Reagan National Airport. A janitor. That's all anyone ever knew about him. At least, that's all she thought she knew. The boy in 12E, a college student in a hoodie, glanced at her and then back at his phone. The businessman across the aisle was already asleep, his tie loose, his laptop bag shoved beneath his seat. A flight attendant moved gracefully down the aisle with a basket of pretzels. Everything was ordinary, as a flights always were, ordinary and forgettable. But halfway through the flight, that ordinariness would shatter. Emma fiddled with the frayed strap of her backpack. She had been away for nearly a year, her first time at university, her first attempt at making her own life. She loved the classes, the freedom, the late-night conversations with roommates. But part of her always ached with quiet guilt. Her father, Daniel Hayes, was back home, cleaning the floors of Sterling Tower, scrubbing bathrooms, and mopping hallways long after others had gone home. He never complained, not once. Growing up, she had always been embarrassed by what he did. Other kids had fathers who were lawyers, doctors, soldiers, engineers. Her dad carried a mop. He made minimum wage. And when Emma was younger, she sometimes flinched when people asked, "What does your dad do?" It wasn't until college year when she started cleaning tables at a campus cafe tilde copyright to cover her expense so that she finally began to understand. Hard work wasn't something to be ashamed of. It was survival. It was love. Her phone buzzed with a text. She pulled it out, her heart flipping. "Dad, at the airport early, got a surprise for you. You'll see." Emma smiled despite herself. Her father was not the kind of man to plan surprises. He didn't have the money for grand gestures, and he usually avoided drawing attention to himself. A surprise from him could mean anything from a new thrift store jacket to her favorite candy waiting in his pocket. She typed back, looking forward to it. "Missed you." As she put her phone away, a sudden voice crackled over the intercom. Not the captain, not the usual flight announcements. This voice was clipped, urgent. "This is NORAD command. Flight 482, maintain course. You are entering restricted airspace for a special escort. Do not be alarmed." The cabin buzzed with confusion. Heads lifted. The businessman sat bolt upright. A few passengers pressed their faces to the windows. Emma turned her head and froze. Outside, cutting through the sky with predatory grace, were two F-22 Raptors, sleek, gray, bristling with silent authority. They flanked the plane like shadows, their wings gleaming in the sun. The cabin erupted in murmurs. Someone gasped. A child squealed with excitement. "Is this an emergency?" A passenger whispered. "Are we in danger?" Another asked. The captain's voice came on next, steady but strained. "Ladies and gentlemen, please remain calm. This escort is temporary. Everything is under control." The words did little to settle nerves. Emma's heart thumped hard against her ribs. She stared at the fighter jet nearest her window, its canopy reflecting the clouds. She could barely make out the pilot inside, helmeted, faceless, looking directly toward their plane. Then, something even stranger happened. The pilot raised his hand in a sharp salute. Not toward the captain, not toward the passengers at large. Beauty toward her. Emma blinked, her mind scrambling. That couldn't be right. There was no way. And then, through her headphones, the cabin speakers crackled again. Only this time, the voice wasn't official, nor was it coming from the captain. It was the fighter pilot himself, his words filling the cabin. requesting confirmation. Passenger aboard a seat 12F. Please confirm identity of relation to call sign Midnight Viper. The flight attendants froze in the aisle. The passengers around Emma turned to look at her. Her skin prickled with heat. She didn't even know what to say. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. "You are broken bar," the captain's voice returned, uncertain. "Wheel broken bar may need clarification." Passenger 12F. "Could you please identify yourself?" Every eye was on her. The businessman gawked. The college student's jaw dropped. A child pointed, whispering loudly, "It's her. It's her." Emma's hands trembled. She forced herself to stand, her voice shaky. "I'm Emma Hayes. My dad is Daniel Hayes." The radio clicked again. The pilot's voice cut through, crisp with reverence. "Copy that." Midnight Viper's daughter confirmed aboard. Standing at attention. And the unbelievably both F-22 Raptors broke formation just slightly. Their wings dipped, their noses angled, their pilots saluting in unison. The cabin erupted into chaos. Some passengers clapped. Others gasped. A flight attendant covered her mouth with her hand, eyes wide with shock. Emma stood frozen, her mind a whirlpool. Midnight Viper. Who was that? That wasn't her father. Her dad was a janitor. He scrubbed bathrooms. He smelled of bleach and floor polish. He had calloused hands, not wings of steel. But the salute, the reverence, the name. Her father wasn't who she thought he was. Emma barely remembered the rest of the flight. Questions swirled around her like a storm, passengers whispering, some asking outright, "Who's your dad? What does Midnight Viper mean? Was he a war hero?" She had no answers. Her stomach twisted with confusion and dread. When the plane landed, it was not at the ordinary terminal gate. Instead, they were directed to a secure area of the airport. Military vehicles were waiting. Soldiers stood at attention on the tarmac. As Emma stepped off the plane, the warm DC air rushed against her face. And there, standing among the uniforms in the stern face-ISO, was her father, Daniel Hayes, the same man she had always known. His worn jacket, his crooked smile, his hands rough from years of scrubbing. But now a broken bar people in full dress uniform saluted him. They called him sir. They moved aside as if he carried the weight of 100 untold stories.